Thank you very much for joining in. My name is Laomi, like I said, and this is Eitayo Oguyemi. Is a barrister at law, is a partner at Law Ascent, and is also. Please let's Eitayo just introduce himself so that I won't just blab away.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a legal practitioner, and I do a lot of business advisory. Okay. So I train in business schools, and I do business consulting. Okay. And presently I'm undergoing my PhD program.
Okay, so
also in law.
So meaning that we're going to have a very, very good time today, because I mean there's a lot of knowledge waiting to be shared. You know, LLB, PhD, HMM, FSTC.
Well, other than that, the key practical things are what we live for. So I believe that it will be very beneficial.
Exactly. So today we want to talk about how to structure your business, how to put the proper legal structures in your business that will help you succeed. You know, so there's a blog that Eitayo had written. When did you write the blog? 2014 or something?
Actually, we have written so many blogs. so we've written blog posts. Yeah. What you should just do is check them online.
Yeah. So if you go to Eitayo, what's the website?
EitayoOguyemi.blogspot.com.
Okay, so there's a lot of knowledge, because anytime you post blogs and it sends to me, I just always eagerly go there to learn something new in law. So now we are just giving the floor to start by telling us some things, and then we'll ask questions as we go by.
Okay, thank you, Laomi. Let me start this way. In my business session with business people, one of the questions that I usually ask is, what do they do the moment they register their business? And what we often get more than otherwise is the fact that, of course, I go on to do business. But sometimes you find situations whereby people start doing business even before their business is registered.
Yes.
So these are common trends that we have noticed. But we also found that it's always important to pay attention to certain details that look very less significant. Okay. And I believe that those details are the things that we are going to be talking about today.
Yes.
Because I share them usually with these students. And other than not, what I've also found out is that when these details are not taken care of from the scratch, okay, it's usually difficult to manage them as time goes. So it's more like you're not putting a proper foundation for your business, okay, and you're trying to construct on it. Definitely, it will not be able to stay. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about putting the proper foundation for your business.
So we're like the wise man that wants to build his house on the rock.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So I think we should start by understanding the differences, or difference as it were, between a business name and if you have a limited liability company. So if you can tell us what are the key differences, and then probably there will be some advantages or disadvantages on both sides. So if you can just share more light.
Okay, thank you, Laomi. I would usually describe the two, particularly because most times I don't address lawyers. So if I'm addressing lawyers, we'll know how to relate in the legal terminologies or legal terms. Okay. So this is how you would know, and this is important for you because not just about you need to know what your structure is like. You need to know whether you are operating a business name or a limited liability company and what makes it either. And you also need to know the kind of brand that you are dealing with, because the implication, or there are things you need to put in place really, depending on the kind of brand that you are dealing with. So how do you know the difference between a business name and a limited liability company? Now, for a business name, I would usually describe it as you putting on an apparel. So let's assume that my name is Eitayo Oguyemi and I'm on a brown shirt today. And let's assume I deal with Laomi, for instance. And after today, okay, we met the next day, I was on a suit. Would you say I'm still the person?
Yes.
Okay. So the lesson is this. Your business name is as good as you. So it is you doing business, okay, in another name. Okay. That is why it is called business name. Okay. So it is me wanting to do business and not wanting to use my name, Eitayo Oguyemi. Okay. And so that's why the law also says that if I'm using my name, I do not have to register my name. If I'm doing business with my name without any addition.
Okay, so
but when I have a Itayo Ogumemi and Co, then I need to register.
wait, so are you saying if I have Laomi Olatunji Limited, do I need to register that?
Well, because of the word limited at the back.
But what of ventures? Laomi
Because
Olatunji
of the
Limited.
venture, you need to register.
So I should just say Laomi Olatunji.
If you allow me Olatunji and you are doing business, in as much as you are not an infant, you are not an underage.
Yes.
Why can't you do business
Without registering?
without registering?
Wow.
It's more or less like saying that, can I sign a document because I'm a human? Yes, of course, I can sign a document because I'm a human.
Okay.
But when I want to portray myself in another name, different from my natural name, to do business, what the law says is that I have to register it.
Wow.
And I think one of the reasons for that is so as to avoid situations of mistakes or misrepresentation, and so that people can even be protected.
Okay.
So if, for instance, I'm dealing in another name, and the law wants to know what is essential is really to know who is the person behind this name, who is using this name, who is registered in this name.
Okay.
So that is the essence of business name. So in other words, the consequence of that is that you actually give life to it, because the meaning is that the business name does not exist without you.
Sure.
It is you doing business in another name other than your name.
Yeah.
Or you doing business in a name in addition to your name.
Okay.
So that explains a business name. And how do you know a business name? It's very simple. As different from a limited liability company or all forms of other forms of companies that are not in the realm of business name, you should, as a business person, look at the last qualification, the last word that ends the business you are dealing with.
Okay.
So, if for instance we have Laomi Olatunji, and that is all, and we say that Laomi Olatunji is registered, and that is the name it is registered in, that gives a presumption that that will likely be a business name. But if it's going to be a limited liability company, it will always end with a limited liability company at the back. So depending, if it is a public company, you will see PLC at the back. If it is a limited by guarantee company, you see GT and all of that. So you would always see the qualification. And why is that important? It is important because in the long run, the person you are dealing with, you need to know, is this person operating as a business name owner or operating as a company? Because a business name does not have a life other than the life that the business owner has. Whereas when you talk about a limited liability company, it is considered in law to be a person. So even though you cannot, it cannot speak for itself, it speaks through the directors. So that's why we call it artificial person. So you will find that a business name owner is doing business, and he or she is the one giving life to the business or the business name. Okay. But the promoters or the ones that come together to register or incorporate the company, the moment that company is registered, they cease to be the ones giving life to the company. So this is how I would describe it. If you want to appreciate it better, you imagine the situation of a pregnant woman. The moment the woman is pregnant, she goes to the maternity, and she goes through lectures on how to make sure that she gives birth to a healthy baby. And whatever she digests, whatever she eats, the baby eats.
Yes.
So there is no difference. There is that connection that she cannot just wake up one day and say she wants to drop the pregnancy and go out there. The baby, they are together. They must do everything together. But the moment there is a severance of that cord, we have two entities. And so as the baby grows, the baby gains independence. So even a baby that is given birth to today, the mother can still say, let me quickly drop this baby and quickly use the gent or something. And that is because the baby has been given birth to. So this is just almost the same thing with giving birth to a limited liability company. The moment the Corporate Affairs Commission gives you your certificate, it's as good as having given birth to another entity, to a baby entirely. And you will find that if you give the baby good nourishment, the baby will grow healthy. And as the baby grows, the baby will give back to you as a parent. And that's why I feel that the aspect of what we are discussing is about giving the good nutrients to your baby so that your baby can grow and give back to you in due season. So the baby is an artificial person in this case. So the baby has a life of its own, meaning your limited liability company has a life of its own. As different from your business name, which is directly attached to the owner. So if you ask me, why should I really care about who I'm dealing with? You need to care about the difference, because let's assume you want to enter a contractual relationship. The key question is, who do I enter the relationship with? If I enter it with a business name owner, does the business name have a life without the owners or without the partners? If it doesn't have a life, I usually would suggest that make sure you enter the business transaction with, in the name of the owners, trading in the name and style the registered name. I hope you get that.
No,
this is what I'm saying. So we have, let's assume we have Law Accent as a name, and you're trading with us, and you want to have an agreement with us. My suggestion is that if Law Accent is a business name, then it is safer for you to have it with the partners, and then you can bracket it trading in the name and style Law Accent, because the partners are the ones that give life to the business, to the business name. But if we have Law Accent Limited Liability Company, you know that the fact that it's a limited liability company, there's no dispute about it. It has a life of its own. It is an artificial person. So you could have an agreement with Law Accent Limited Liability Company. So I hope you appreciate
that's awesome advice. I mean, because you would have thought about that on your own, you know. That's awesome advice. Thank you very much. I mean, that's been very good. Now, I just want to ask one question concerning when you said I could register Laomi Olatunji. I'm just thinking it's not something that is very practical. I mean, would I just say Laomi Olatunji without putting limited or ventures or anything? So do you think it's something people can actually do?
Well, that's why I said that the moment you are no longer an infant, the moment you are not an underage, you can do business without having to register, because you yourself, I mean, your person already is qualified to do business in as much as you're doing it in your natural name. But we will look at it again. If you, this is where it could be absorbed. If you say you are trading as Olaomi Olatunji, for instance, and then you go to the bank and you say you want to open a corporate account, and they ask you that, okay, where's your certificate? You tell them that, okay, I'm doing business as Olaomi Olatunji. The best they will tell you is that, well, you can only open a corporate, a current account, but you cannot open a corporate account without certification. So this is where it is usually important. One way or the other, you would have to get to register your business. But the law says that if you are doing business and you're doing it in your natural name, you don't have any addition other than your surname, your first name, and all that, or the abbreviation, the law allows you to do your business without anything.